Welcome to the Essex Sport Facebook page. My name's Arlene. We're going to have a nice slow flow yoga session today, about 30 minutes. If you want to make sure you've got plenty of space, yoga mat, water, your floor is not slippery, and just do motions that feel comfortable for you today. All right, so when you're ready, we'll come to lay on our back to get in a comfortable position. And as you lay back on the mat, just make little adjustments. Check in with how your breath feels. Notice your touching points. You can feel the places you touch the floor, your feet, back of your head, your arms. And just notice the sensation of the ground below. And how do you feel today? Do you feel any areas of tension? Any differences on one part of your spine to the other? And just observe the flow of your breath. So where does the air enter? How long is your inhalation? Does it feel relaxed? And when you exhale, where does the breath release? And do you feel your breath without effort today? So we're going to start by making a few movements now, just kind of rolling on the floor. So you can either bring your feet away from the floor and hold on to your shins or your thighs and just start to rock side to side. Or if it's comfortable, you might have kind of soft knees and start to lengthen your legs up. And again, you can either rock side to side here, or if it's comfortable holding onto your legs or your toes, you might just very slowly start to bring your feet in the direction of your head or almost to the floor behind you. So just do that at your own pace. So a few options with that. You can even make it like a little happy baby pose and just start to notice where you touch the ground. So a little massage for your back today. Okay, so just make that your own. So find the rocking, if you prefer, with your feet, your knees bent and your thighs towards your stomach, or maybe a little happy baby pose, or kind of almost like a soft rocking halasana or plow. So just to make a few movements to check in with how you feel, and you can almost feel a connection between your hands and your legs as well as your back. Okay, great. So when you're ready, we'll come to roll on our side, or you can rock up from here. Good, and come to all fours on your hands and knees. As you come to all fours, just check in with how your body feels, and we'll start to make a little circle, so you can rock forwards and backwards from hands to knees, and stay with that if that's comfortable. And maybe you start to feel a little lengthening in your lower back or a tucking under of your tailbone when you rock back. Stay with that if that's comfortable, or you can start to make a circle, so rocking forward to the side, behind you, and the other side. And that can be quite small, but it might be larger with your bottom coming to your heels, and maybe when you come to the side, you start to feel your rib cage relax. Good, and you can go in either direction with your circling, so just make that your own. Nice rotations. Lovely. And we'll come back to a stillness here. Good. And then from all fours, I find extended child's pose, so just gently bring your bottom to your heels. You're welcome to have more space between your knees and have your toes touch. Just see where you're comfortable. Slowly start to bring your upper body towards the floor. Just notice where you'd like any support, if at all. And you can rest your forehead on the ground. You might walk your fingers further away from you, or even adjust how much space you have between your arms. Good. So just stay here for a few breaths, and just start to feel as if your breath were inflating through your lower back like a balloon. When you inhale, maybe your back expands, and as you exhale, relax your bottom to your heels. Good, one more breath here. Lovely, and we'll slowly start to uncurl. Good, and if you come to sit with your legs crossed, you're welcome to sit up on a block or a cushion if that's more comfortable, but just sit comfortably crossed legs. This is called Sukhasana, or easy pose. You might have your feet flexed and your shins resting on the ground. And if you relax your hands, rest your hands on your knees, and just start to bring your belly forward, and then slowly start to round your spine so you relax back. So it's kind of like a seated cat-cow. And just do that at your own pace. So maybe when you inhale, if you'd like to do it with your breathing, you can bring your belly forward and then start to look up a little bit to the ceiling. And then as you exhale, around your lower back, your mid-back, and you might look down towards your navel and relax the back of your head. Okay, so we'll just do another round. Seated cat and cow. And then start to bring your belly forward, and when your head is upright, and then bring your rib cage to the side and back to the center, and then bring around your back like we did for our seated cat-cow, and then rib cage over to the other side, and then forward, and then going that same direction. If you just start to make a little circle, just 2 circles in this direction. Good. When you come forward again, we'll do that again. So bring your belly forward, back to center with your spine, rib cage to the side, back to center, relax your back to that space behind you, coming back to center, then over to the other side, and then a little 2 circles forward to the side behind you, just the opposite direction that you circled before. Good. And when you're ready, we'll come back to the center. Lovely. And if you sit with your knees upright, your feet on the floor, so I'll give you a few options, so do what feels right for you. But for example, if you lift your right toes off the floor and you can hold your knees up to the ceiling, you can hold either your shin, your thigh, or you might interlace your fingers and bring the palms of your hands onto the sole of your foot. So just see where that's comfortable. And then you can start to lift your heel off the floor again. So you might be holding here, you can hold shin, calf, thigh. So wherever that's comfortable. So knees up to the ceiling, but I kind of have my leg out to the side, so it's about the outside edge of my shoulder. And then just very slowly start to straighten your leg a little bit, like your heel's lengthening forward, and then draw your knee back towards your chest. So if you want to make that larger, you can even start to bring your knee a little bit out to the side, so it still faces upright, but you can feel your thighs start to brush on the edge of your rib cage. So it's almost like the seated cat and cow you're practicing. Just see how that feels for you. Again, so you don't have to do it with your fingers interlaced. Just do that if that's comfortable. Maybe you're holding here, maybe you're holding here, maybe you're holding behind your thigh. So just do that at the range that feels comfortable for you. And you might start to feel this kind of moving forward and backwards. Good, so we'll do one more round on this leg. You might start to feel that open up your hip space. Good, then bring your leg down and just scan for a moment that side of the body that you just worked and the other. Do they feel differently, perhaps? So we'll set up for the other side. So just through the same options, perhaps you lift your toes, interlace your fingers, and bring the palms of your hands to the sole of your foot, and then lift your heel away from the floor. Hold wherever that's comfortable for you on this side, and you can start to straighten your leg a little and draw your knee towards your chest. And again, just do that at the range that feels comfortable. So if you want to maximize the range, you might start to bring your chin towards your chest and relax the back of your head when your leg straightens, and you might draw your thigh to the outside edge of your rib cage when you draw your leg back with your knee bent. Good, so we'll do 2 more rounds here. Just see how that feels for yourself. Good. And then when you're ready, we'll come to all fours on our hands and knees. Good, so just set up here for downward facing dog. So just noticing comfortable connection with the floor. You can start by tucking your toes and think about making a long spine, so your tailbone relaxes down as your bottom comes to your heels. And then imagine your tailbone has a string, and you slowly start to lift your hips up and your tailbone to downward facing dog. So just practice this at your own pace. You can have your knees bent and start to find that nice long spine. Maybe you'd like to bring movement to down dog today by bending one knee at a time, bicycling your legs out. Good, just check in. You can turn your head side to side, but think about creating length in your spine. So almost like your sitting bones are drawn with a string to the wall behind you. You can have that nice bend in your knees if that's comfortable, more comfortable. So just make this your own. Adjust to feel comfortable. You might start to notice your arms kind of come near your ears, and you can bend your knees to find that space. Good. So again, maybe there's movement here where you're enjoying holding your downward facing dog. Lovely. And then when you're ready, we'll walk our hands to feet or feet to hands. Good. Come through forward fold for a moment and just check in. You might have your arms, your hands on the floor. You might bend your elbows and rest your forearms on your thighs, anywhere in between. Where would your hands like to be? Just check in if the weight's rolling inward or rolling outward on your feet. Can you adjust to make it feel central? Does the weight feel more towards your toes or leaning back towards your heels? And you adjust to feel it evenly spread out. Good, so one more breath here. And when you're ready, we'll draw our navel inwards. Draw your navel inward, unfold your spine slowly up, coming up to standing. Good, when you're upright, gently bring your arms up overhead, let your palms touch. Imagine you're lengthening your fingers to the ceiling. And as you exhale, take a little side bend to one side. Notice how that feels. Perhaps a release through your rib cage and your hip. back to center, inhale, exhale, other direction. Good. Just notice a little awakening for your side body. Good. And then we'll give our arms open, give everything a little shake. Good. Okay, great. So if you walk towards the front of your mat, we're going to practice a chair pose next. And I'll just face forward initially to demonstrate that. So if you stand with your feet about the width of your hips and just find a small softness in your knees. As you inhale, bring your arms up overhead. You might have your palms facing inward. Just create as much space between your arms as feels comfortable. When you exhale, draw your navel inward, lead with your tailbone to sit to chair pose. And just think about making a nice even alignment so your knees just track about to the center of your foot. So you might have your toes turn out to the side if that feels more comfortable. For your alignment, you can make a little adjustments to the placement of your feet. Okay, so we're going to come to our chair pose here. Lovely. And then as you exhale, start to stand upwards. Push through your feet and almost like the top of your head lengthens up. Good. Now bring your arms behind you. Interlace your fingers if that's comfortable, or you might stay here. If you'd like to come into that deeper, start to lengthen your knuckles to the floor, towards the floor, so you might feel a little rotation in your shoulders. Inhale here. Arms stay if that's comfortable. Exhale, sit to chair. Navel engages, tailbone leans. Stay if that's comfortable. If you'd like to, you can start to bring your chest parallel to the floor. See how close you'd like your chin towards your chest to have that long neck and spine. And if you want to come into this deeper, maybe start to straighten your legs. And you're welcome to extend your straight arms further behind you if that's comfortable. So just come into that as much as feels comfortable. So no pressure to straighten your legs. You can keep them bent, and you don't have to bring your chest all the way forward towards your legs. Just see where in that range that feels comfortable. Good, one more breath here. Lovely. And then slowly return to your chair. We'll bring our arms next to our ears, push through your feet. Imagine the top of your head is lengthening up to the ceiling. A little upper back bend option, weight to your heels. Hips might come forward, lengthen your front body, like your rib cage lifts away from your hips. Then exhale, coming out to the side. Good, we'll come back to chair. So inhale here, navel's engaged, exhale, sit to chair. This time, bend your elbows and bring your hands in front of your heart space or your sternum. Stay if that's comfortable. If you'd like to come into a rotation, start to turn to one side. So I'm turning to my right and bringing my left elbow to my right knee. So just choose which one feels comfortable. If you want to come into that deeper, you might open just your arm closest to the ceiling, or you might open your other arm, the one that's come across your body, towards the floor. So for me, that's my left hand towards the floor and right arm to the ceiling. Just see where you'd like to turn your head, come into that as much as feels comfortable. And you might start to feel that little rotation arise from your tailbone and open up your chest space. Good. Then we'll bring our hands together, rotate back to center, stay facing towards the ground. Place your hands on the floor about the width of your shoulders, and then step your right foot comfortably back. See how that feels. So it's almost like a little lunge position, but we're just having our right foot on the ball of our foot. And we'll walk your hands forward so they're about the width of your shoulders. Stay if that's comfortable. If you'd like to, shift the weight fully onto your left foot. And you can start to lift your right toes off the floor a little, and you can return them down at any time. If you'd like to, you can start to lift your leg, come to a little balance. If you want more, maybe straighten your left leg, and you can start to lift your right leg for a little half split upwards. So just come into that as much as feels comfortable. There's no pressure to straighten your legs all the way. You can come into it deeper as well if you'd like. Good, one more breath here. Lovely. And gently start to bend your left leg or your standing leg, the straight one, and start to bring your back leg, your right for me, behind you. Good. From here, place your hands, bring them close to your body so they're about underneath your shoulders, and then step to downward facing dog. So both legs behind you, stepping for me, my left foot back. Just see how that feels. You're welcome to bring a little movement to that. Good. One more breath here. Good. We're going to lift our right leg for flying dog. Notice how that feels. You're welcome to add a little rotation by looking underneath your armpit and opening your hip and your right knee out to the side. And then we'll come back forward. So your hips are facing the floor. Bend your right knee towards your navel. Look between your hands. Step your right foot forward between your hands for equestrian pose. Keep your hands in contact with the ground. Option to bring your left knee down. Just see what feels comfortable. And then start to bring your right arm out to the side. And you can just start to rotate. So stop wherever that's comfortable. At maximum, maybe your arm's coming up towards the ceiling. If you want to come into that deeper, you can bring your hands together in front of your heart space. So your left elbow comes to your right thigh, or opposite elbow to thigh. Good. Just see where you're comfortable for that. Again, knee down option. Come into this as much as feels right for you. Good. One more breath here. Lovely. And when you're ready, slowly rotate back. Step your feet together, about hip width apart. Return to your chair pose, arms next to your ears, tailbone extends down. Good. push through your feet, hinging upwards, little upper back bend option. Good. And as you exhale, open your arms out to the side. Lovely. So we'll do the same sequence on the other side. So inhale here, exhale, sit to chair. Good. Hands come in front of your heart, to the left or the other direction, rotating as an option. Maybe extend your left arm up to the ceiling or the opposite one. Right fingertips to the floor. See where you'd like to turn your head. Good. Perhaps you feel that rotation rise from your lower back and your chest start to open. One more breath here. Palms come together. Rotate to center. Bring your fingertips to the floor. Step your left foot back this time for a little lunge. Good. Keep your hands as they are. Start to walk your hands forward. Not the width of your shoulders. Weight onto your front leg. For me, that's your right. And you can start to lift your left toes off the floor. You can bring them down again at any time. Just experiment, see how that feels. Maybe you shift the weight to your right foot fully. Maybe you start to straighten your right leg, and maybe you start to find that little half split. And you can adjust where your hands are, your arms are, to feel comfortable. Good. So one more breath here. Lovely. When you're ready, start to lower your foot. Walk your hands back. Hands up underneath your shoulders. Step your front foot back. For me, that's your right. Into downward facing dog. And again, make that your own. You can give it a little massage to your feet. Turn your head side to side. Option here to lift your left leg for flying dog. And you can even turn, look underneath your left armpit, open your knee out to the side as well as your hip. And then come back to center. Lower your knee towards your navel. Step your left foot forward back to equestrian pose. So see if you'd like to bring your right knee down here, just as an option. Stay under the ball of your foot if that's comfortable. Then we'll start to open our left arm out to the side. Rotate, stop wherever that's comfortable. If you want to get into that deeper, you could bring the palms of your hands together in front of your heart. A little rotation. Good. One more breath here. Lovely. Then slowly rotate back to center. Step your feet together. Hip width apart. Return to chair pose. Arms next to your ears. Just come into that as much as feels comfortable. Push through your feet, hinge upwards. Upper back bend option. Chest opening. Good. Exhale. Open out to mountain pose. Give everything a little shake. Good. And then if you step your feet into a straddle position or wider than hip width apart, we'll practice warrior two next. So if you turn your one leg, I'm going to start with my right. If you turn your right toes out to the side and think about your left toes facing forward. Sometimes it's quite a nice alignment, but see how it feels on your body to align your heel with the arch of your foot. So the leg that's turned out to the side, the heel might align with the arch of the foot with the toes turned forward. Good. Just checking with how that feels. We'll bring our arms up and into a T. And then as you exhale, just very slowly start to bend your right knee. Notice where it's tracking. You can make little adjustments so it feels comfortable. Good. So just notice how that feels in your body. Sometimes it's quite nice to have that alignment of your knee above your ankle. Good. Just checking with how that feels. And you can add a little rotation here for your head. Good. So you turn towards the right side. Lovely. So we're going to come to extended side angle pose first. So if you turn both palms forward, hinge forwards, you're reaching your right fingertips towards your bent knee. Good. And then slowly rotate your upper arm further. So my left arm turns, so your palms facing towards the floor. Bring your arm overhead. You can rest your forearm on your thigh here, just see how that feels. If you want to come into it deeper, you can bring either your fingertips to the floor, or for more intensity, you can bring both arms overhead. So just see, where do you want to practice your extended side angle pose? Good. Maybe you start to feel that release through the side of your body, your rib cage. Good. And we'll exhale back to warrior two. Good. Turn both palms to face forward and turn both toes outwards. And we'll come to a little star pose, and you can start to gaze upwards if that's comfortable, and lengthen your fingers up to almost like you're trying to touch the edges of the room where the ceiling meets the wall. Lovely. Then we'll set up for warrior two on the other side. So turn your left toes away from you, right toes turn forward. And as you exhale, we'll start to bend our left knee and turn your palms face down. So rotation through your shoulders. Just check in. Sometimes it's quite nice to line shoulders over your hips, maybe your knees about above your ankle, and just little adjustments to your heel placement. Rotation of your head. Check in. If you want to make this more dynamic, you can imagine your fingers are lengthening in opposite directions, but you can even start to imagine your left knee is trying to almost lengthen forward, but your right fingertips are trying to reach to the side wall. Good. So just notice how that opposition feels on your chest as well as your inner leg. Lovely. We'll come to extended side angles next. So palms turn forward, exhale, hinge forward, leading with your left fingertips. and further rotate through your shoulder, so right arm comes next to your ear. Come into that as much as feels comfortable. Same options here. Where would you like to come into this? Where would you like to look? And what level of intensity would you like on that side? Good. One more round of breath here. Lovely. As you exhale, we'll come back to warrior two. Good. Lovely. And then turn both toes to face out. Arms, palms up. Arms in a V. Little gaze upwards. You can feel perhaps like your sides are lengthening upwards, almost like you're trying to push the air with the palms of your hands. Good. And then as you exhale, step your feet together. Good. You can give everything a little shake. So we'll do a little balance next. If you practice set up for tree pose, option 1, and you can come to hand to foot pose, option 2. So from your tree pose, just connect with the ground evenly throughout the sole of your foot. You might think about your shoulders over your hips, and almost like the back of your head's in line with your tailbone. Good, so let's pick one leg. I'm going to stand on my left leg first, so shifting over to your standing leg, other knee bends. Think about keeping your hips level. Sometimes that's helpful to keep balance. Knee turns out to the side, bottom of your foot rests on the floor. You can have your hands on your hips in front of you. You might bring them overhead. Option to keep your toes on the floor. You can slide the sole of your foot higher onto your calf. Avoid the side of the knee itself, so you can come up to your thigh as well, and just stay wherever that's comfortable. So take the option that feels right for you. So the optional hand to foot pose, you can start to lift your knee upwards and hold onto your toes with your hand. So maybe this is where you'd like to stay. If you want more, think about keeping your knee upright, but your heels start to lengthen away. And you can do that at the range that feels comfortable, so you don't have to open your leg straight all the way. And sometimes it's quite nice to open your other arm out to the side for counterbalance. So again, tree pose, hand to foot pose. See where you'd like to practice this at your own pace. Good. And then when you're ready, so no rush, we'll start to think about coming out. So if you're doing the hand to foot pose, you can bend your knee, come back through your tree, bring your knee forward, and then relax, and you can give everything a little shake. And just check in for a moment, how do you feel? Differences right side to left. And then we'll do the other leg. So just come into that at your own pace, tree or hand to foot pose. It might be a different choice on this side, but shift the weight to the opposite leg. So for me, that's my right. Left knee bends out to the side. Where would you like your hands to be on this side? Where would you like your foot to be on this side? And then again, that optional hand to foot pose. And you can just come through the range on this side very slowly. So there's no rush and there's no pressure to come to the same place that you practiced before. Okay, so just hold a few more moments in your tree or hand to foot pose, wherever that's comfortable. Good. So one more round of breath here. And then when you're ready, just very slowly, you can start to bend your knee again. Bring your knee forward, relax, and you can give everything a little shake. Okay. So you stand with your feet about the width of your hips. Bring your arms up overhead. Inhale as you exhale. Sit as if the chair pose, but let your arms swing down. Just do 2 more rounds at your own pace. Inhaling up, exhaling, relaxing. Good, last one here. Good, lovely. Good, so we're going to come down to the ground now through a squat pose or Padmasana. If you turn your toes off to the side, you can feel how much space you'd like between your heels, hands in front of your heart. Imagine there's a pathway of breath rising as you inhale from your navel to your heart, and as you exhale, relaxing from your heart to your navel. Good, another round of breath here in that manner. And then when you're ready, we'll slowly come to bend our knees. You might do that with your exhalation. Stop wherever that's comfortable. So maybe at maximum you bring your elbows inside of your knees. If your heels start to lift, that's fine. You can welcome to place little rolled up towel or blocks under there. Good, so one more breath here. Lovely. And we'll come down to all fours. You place your hands onto the ground. You might face the short edge of your mat and just come to all fours. So we're going to lift our right knee off the floor, so you kind of shift the weight over to your left side and just start to make little circles with your right knee. And you can go in either direction, and that can be quite small, but you might make that larger with your knee coming out to the side and behind you. And you can even do that if you do bring your leg behind you. You can almost make like a frog leg by straightening your leg behind you or lifting your leg straight and then bending your knee as you come to the side. So just do a little circling. It's really a rotation of your thigh in the hip socket, and just do that at the range that feels nice on this side. Good. Lovely. Okay, so we're going to keep our right knee bent and set up for a pigeon pose. So if you bring your knee, your right knee behind your right wrist on the floor, and then your right heel can come underneath your groin, or if you want to come a that deeper, you can flex your right foot and start to draw your toes in the direction of your left wrist, but stop wherever that's comfortable, so a maximum when your shin is parallel to the front of the mat. Good, so once you're in place there, you can start to relax your left knee to the floor, almost behind your shoulder. You can rotate from your thigh and turn your knee out to the side if that's more comfortable. Option to place some cushions or pillows here underneath your right hip. Stay if this is comfortable here. Maybe you like to slowly start to progress your upper body in the direction of the floor. So it's almost like when you practice extended child's pose, and you can rest at any point. Just see if you'd like to bring support from your head or maybe the floor itself. So just come into your pigeon pose at your own pace, at your own range, and just think about when you're in that place where you can stay for a few moments. How does your body feel? Do you feel like you're trying to lift up against gravity, and can you relax downwards? Let gravity take over. So you can start to feel a little release in your hips, your back, your muscles. Get 2 more rounds of breath here if you're comfortable. Just come out of it at any time or adjust to feel at ease. Good. And then when you're ready, just very slowly start to walk your hands back underneath your shoulders, and just very slowly at your own pace push yourself up. We'll come back to all fours on hands and knees and just set up to do the other side. So your left knee lifts off the floor, start that little circling again, draw circles in either direction. So you can feel your thigh rotating in the hip socket, and again you can make that large by extending your leg behind you, opening your knee out to the side, and then drawing it towards the floor, and again in either direction. So just find the range that feels comfortable for you on this side. Just explore that. Maybe it's a different range than on the other leg. Good. And then when you're ready, we'll keep our knee bent. Start to bring your left knee onto the floor behind your left wrist, and just come through the options. Do it at your own pace. So heel underneath your groin, or flexing your foot toes towards your right wrist. Right knee down, kind of straight behind your shoulder. Option to place cushions or blocks under your left hip. Stay wherever that's comfortable. Maybe you'd like to stay here. Maybe you walk slowly forward. So just come at the pace that feels comfortable for you. You can rest it anywhere with cushions or blocks, or stack of books under your head. So just find what feels comfortable. Rolled up towels, and just rest for a few breaths here. You can see maybe the sensations are different on this side. Does it feel differently? Does it feel like you're trying to lift up away or out of the posture? Just make yourself comfortable and relax. Find what you need. Come into the range that feels right for your body in this moment. Get 2 more rounds of breath here if you're comfortable, but ease out at any time. Adjust when it feels right for you. Good. Lovely. So when you're ready, we'll start to think about coming out of the posture. No rush. Very slowly walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. Gently push yourself up. We'll come back to all fours on your hands and knees. And so for the next one, if you're comfortable, we'll sit back onto our shins in Virasana. But if that's uncomfortable, you can sit with your legs straight in front of you. Good. So we're going to just very slowly start to walk our hands back. You can rotate through your shoulders and turn your fingertips behind you, and just start to lift your breastbone up if that's comfortable. So you can do the same thing with your legs in front of you and start to lift up, and just see how much space you'd like between your arms. You can adjust to feel comfortable. Maybe you like your fingertips off to the side. Just start to open through your chest space. So leaning back. If you're doing this sitting on your shins, and you do turn your fingertips towards your body, you can start to lift up in this direction, or you might even come down onto your forearms. Good, or you can come all the way down towards the floor. So just see where is that comfortable, and you can place cushions or blocks underneath. So I'm just showing different options. You can come into this at the range that feels comfortable for you. Good, just relaxing back. Good. So one more breath here. So if you're leaning back, you can either just bring your heels to the side and come to lay on your back. If you're seated with your legs straight, walk your hands forward. Good, before coming to lay back on your mat. Okay, so as you lay back on your mat, again, just make yourself comfortable. We'll bring our knees towards our chest, hold your shins, and just as we did at the start, find your rocking that feels comfortable. So you might rock side to side, you can draw circles on the ceiling with your knees, or you might come to that kind of happy baby pose with your touching your toes or wherever your leg it feels comfortable, and rocking side to side, or that kind of variation of plow where you bring your legs overhead. So just find a little rocking that feels comfortable for you. Good. Lovely. Then when you're ready, just give your body a little shake, little vibrations. And then just come to take a nice stretch, full body stretch. Reach your arms overhead, lengthen your toes away, and then you can come to relax on your mat. Either legs straight or knees bent. Notice where you'd like your arms to be. And just feel the flow of your breath. Inhalation, where it enters, parts of your body that move and expand. Exhalation, where it releases. And you can feel any changes in the flow of your energy and the feel of your breath. The connection you have with your body, your limbs. The connection you have with how you interact with space surrounding you. Just notice these without judgment. And you're welcome to stay here for a few more minutes and just come to sense and relax. But I'll leave you here now. When you do find it's time to come out of your posture, you're welcome to wiggle your fingers or touch your index finger and thumb, or just make small movements when it feels right for you to come out of your relaxation. But just to enjoy for a few moments the flow of your breath, and the connection you have with your breath, with your body, with gravity, and all that surrounds us. So thank you for practicing slow flow yoga with me today. I hope you have a peaceful rest of your day. You're welcome to check out the Essex Facebook page for further videos, or also YouTube, and send us a message if you have any questions. Okay, thank you. Goodbye.